It shows a quiet, comfortable kitchen. The counter is flooded with sunlight. A mug is reached for. On the stove, a pan sizzles softly. Everything appears familiar, cozy, and safe. The scene then changes, though. The camera softly and slowly focuses on minute details. A nonstick pan that flakes. A distorted plastic container. A broken plate hidden behind more recent ones. Is there a hidden health risk in your kitchen? We become more aware of what we eat as we become older. However, what about the tools we use to cook? Many common kitchen goods that seem innocuous may actually be detrimental to your health, particularly if you're older than 60. This video reveals 15 harmful kitchen products that seniors should get rid of right now. Mess and clutter aren't the only issues here. Some of these may be raising your chance of getting sick, causing inflammation, or even interfering with your energy and digestion. We'll go over the most frequent dangers that are hidden from view, and I'll show you a safer, wiser alternative for each one so your kitchen feels secure, useful, and new again. Your kitchen should enhance your well-being rather than subtly harm it, regardless of whether you live alone or with family. Take a cup of tea, clear your head, and let's begin this subtle yet effective change, one drawer at a time. First, nonstick cookware that has deteriorated coatings. Imagine that as you're preparing your typical morning eggs, a few little coating flakes fall onto your plate as you slide them out of that reliable nonstick skillet. Although it is silent and covert, it is not safe. Many nonstick pans eventually lose their Teflon coating, particularly if they are subjected to extreme heat or are scraped by metal utensils. When that occurs, the pan may leak harmful substances like PFOA, which have been connected to cancer, immune system disturbance, and thyroid problems. Saying farewell to a nonstick pan is necessary if you have been using it for more than a few years, or if you see any peeling, bubbling, or discoloration. A better path forward is shown here. Make the switch to cookware coated in ceramic, cast iron, or stainless steel. Durability and steady heat without any chemical hazards are provided by stainless steel. When properly seasoned, cast iron provides a naturally nonstick surface and can even give your food a little more iron. Ceramic is safe for cooking at high temperatures, lightweight, and easily cleaned. Start small if you're scared to abandon your favorite nonstick. Simply cook something simple like sautéed vegetables or scrambled eggs in place of one skillet, and observe the difference in texture, flavor, and mental clarity. In addition to cooking better, a safer pan safeguards your health at every meal. 2. You most likely have a drawer full of plastic containers and utensils, some with melted corners, others with discolored edges, and lids that don't match. However, most people are unaware of this. In addition to being unsightly, aging plastic is dangerous. BPA and other chemicals found in many older plastic containers and utensils can seep into your food, particularly when heated by microwaves or dishwashers. The plastic degrades with time, creating scratches and fissures that provide germs with the ideal hiding places. Have you ever noticed that when you reheat leftovers in plastic, they occasionally smell bad? It includes both the meal and the container. The clever switch. Glass containers that are easy to clean, microwave safe, and resistant to stains and odors should be used in favor of outdated ones. Choose bamboo or stainless steel cutlery. They are chemical risk-free, strong, and long-lasting. Silicone tools are also excellent for flexibility, durability, and heat resistance. This one small adjustment can enhance food safety, cut down on waste, and, surprisingly, make your meals taste better. 3. Dinnerware that is chipped or cracked. We all keep the teacup with the small crack and the plate with the chip on the edge because we are accustomed to it or because it brings back memories. However, those flaws might hold more than just memories. Particularly when exposed to warm, humid dishwashers or humid storage, even tiny chips and hairline cracks are breeding grounds for germs, mold, and moisture. The risk is significantly higher if your foods were prepared years ago. Glazes made of lead were historically widely used in ceramics. Lead does not simply remain in the glaze. It can also seep into meals, especially in hot, acidic foods like tomato-based sauces or soups. The healthy shift: reuse broken dishes for decor or retire them. An excellent flower pot is a chipped bowl. Invest in materials that are known to be food-safe and chip-resistant, such as porcelain, tempered glass, or stoneware. Look for labels that attest to the absence of lead and cadmium in your crockery. It's not necessary to sacrifice style in order to keep your kitchen safe. It entails selecting foods that both safeguard your health and add enjoyment to mealtimes, because you should be able to trust the surface on which every meal is served. For spices that are more than 5 years old, examine your spice cabinet. That jar of paprika has likely been there for too long if you can't recall when you purchased it. Not only do old spices lose their flavor, they also lose their function. After only 2 years, ground spices start to lose their flavor. Although whole spices have a slightly longer shelf life, they are frequently reduced to dust in a jar after 5 years. Even worse, mold, bugs, and dampness can be drawn to outdated spices, particularly if kept above the stove, as heat hastens deterioration. And the most significant loss? Their health advantages also disappear. No more ability to reduce inflammation. Antioxidants are out. Simply squandered shelf space. Here's the good news, though. Restocking your spice cabinet is like taking a break from cooking and improving your health. Begin modestly. Anything that smells unidentifiable or flat should be thrown out. Use tiny amounts of fresh, premium jars of spices in place of your most utilized ones. Keep them away from the stove and in a cold, dry location. Additionally, keep in mind that flavor stimulates hunger. You will love eating healthily once again when your food tastes better. 5. Cookware made of aluminum. That ancient aluminum pot has seen better days, but it has also seen 1,000 soups. Aluminum reacts. Additionally, it can seep into your diet when combined with acidic foods like citrus, tomato sauce, or vinegar, particularly in cases where the pot is uncoated, pitted, or damaged. According to some study, aluminum exposure raises health concerns, such as cognitive deterioration, which is particularly concerning for older persons. There are safer alternatives around, so why take the chance when nothing is definitive yet? What you can do today is as follows. Aluminum pans should be retired, particularly if they are obviously damaged or have lost their coating. Switch to stainless steel. It is a long-term investment that is dependable and non-reactive. Do you want nostalgic charm and even heat? Choose cast iron that has an enamel coating. In addition to being long-lasting, it is also elegant serveware. Think about non-toxic ceramic-coated choices for lighter cooking. Instead of subtly harming your health, your cookware should promote it. In addition to making meals safer, replacing old pots and pans also makes every meal a vote for your long-term health. 6. Small, outdated appliances that are still in use are inadequate. It still functions when you connect it in. So why would you want to save that blender or toaster from your first house that is 20 years old? Here's the reality, though. Something isn't always safe just because it works. Familiar buttons on outdated equipment can conceal hazards. Burned odors, melted plastic, worn wiring, and even imperceptible chemical emissions. One woman described how she began to have headaches from her old coffee machine, until she found out that there was mold growth in areas she couldn't see. Another discovered that her old microwave was dangerously leaking radiation. Our senses may become less sensitive to these warnings as we age. Therefore, it's not just about convenience when it comes to updating old appliances. It has to do with safety. To begin, find out if this device warms up when it shouldn't. Is there an unpleasant odor? Does completing basic tasks take longer than usual? If so, now is the moment. And keep this in mind when you upgrade. Select energy-efficient versions to lower your electricity costs and the risk of a fire. Seek out multipurpose equipment that can do multiple tasks at once, such as an air fryer or instant pot. Remember that clearing out large, antiquated devices gives you mental and physical space. This goes beyond a simple transaction. It's a step toward a more tranquil and safe kitchen. 7. The dirtiest things you seldom consider are old non-food objects. Every day you clean your counters. However, if you're using an old sponge that's contaminated, are you actually cleaning or are you just making things worse? It's simple to ignore. Never drying sponges, mildly scented dish towels, or 2010 cleaning supplies still stashed beneath the sink. These things seem innocuous, perhaps imperceptible. However, they can be subtly harming your health every day. Consider this. More bacteria can be found on a used sponge than on a toilet seat. If substances in expired cleaners degrade, they may become hazardous or lose their effectiveness. Mold can form on old rags, particularly in moist kitchens. This is your chance to rejuvenate not only your supplies but also your tranquility. Sponge that has been around for too long should be thrown out. For quicker drying times and bacterial resistance, use silicone scrubbers or antimicrobial dishcloths. Use natural, non-toxic cleaning sprays in place of outdated bottles. Lemon, vinegar, and baking soda are still quite effective. And why not add some new tea towels or oven mitts that feel soft, clean, and well-loved to liven up your room? Because appearances aren't the only aspect of a tidy kitchen. Living in the shadows is about what you don't want. Duplicate or unused appliances. Less is more, particularly in the kitchen. Presentation, a disorganized drawer full of haphazard tools, gradually changes into a tidy, well-stocked area with just a few well-selected necessities. Everybody has been there. Avocado savers, garlic presses, egg slicers, and the little blender we vowed to use but never did. These underused devices turn into mental clutter as the years go by. They take up room, delay down the preparation of meals, and add to the overwhelm of cooking. This is the reality. No other tools are required. The proper ones are required. According to a senior home cook, I felt like I got my kitchen and my peace of mind back when I finally donated my extras. What is the answer, then? Just what you've used in the past year, mama. Multipurpose tools should be used instead of single-use devices. A quality chef's knife is superior to 5 tricks. For easier access, arrange tools in organizers vertically. Give away or donate any tools that are no longer useful to you. Cooking is once again a pleasure rather than a job when your drawers feel lighter. Your routine will be more flexible if your tools are simple. 9. Dull or rusted knives. Your cutlery drawer's silent threat. Presentation. A shaky hand uses a dull knife to cut a tomato. Using a stainless steel blade that is razor sharp, cut to a confident, smooth slice. Contrary to popular belief, a sharp knife really poses less of a threat. Knives that are dull can slip. They need greater exertion. This is where mishaps occur. On the other hand, rust does more than only blunt the blade. It may contaminate your food with dangerous particles. Consider your knives to be your everyday instruments of strength. You can chop more quickly, cook more smoothly, and stay safer when they are properly maintained. Here are some tips for honing this aspect of your life. Upgrade to a premium stainless steel set of knives to replace rusty or inexpensive ones. For dry, clean storage, use a wooden block or magnetic strip. Regularly sharpen your blades or have them done by a professional once a year. Have a favorite chef's knife that you can hold with ease. It will be your kitchen partner. It was best expressed by one woman. I believed that I detested cutting. I have the wrong knife, it turns out. Cutting food isn't the only use for an upgraded knife. The goal is to reduce stress, save time, and rediscover your love for your kitchen. 10. Cans that are over their expiration date pose a risk rather than a guarantee. Presentation. The back of a pantry shelf rolls out a dusty can with a fading label. Cut to a tidy, well-labeled row of modern pantry essentials. For comfort and convenience, we frequently stock up on canned products. A feeling of readiness. However, with time, what once offered sustenance could turn out to be silently harmful. Lids that bulge. Rusty rims. You were unaware of expired stamps. These indicate spoiling. The risk is significantly higher in older adults, whose immune systems and digestion are more delicate. My mom ate from an old can of soup she thought was still good, one viewer once commented. She had food sickness and ended up in the emergency room. I've kept a close eye on dates ever since. Toxins, germs, and botulism can all be found in expired canned products. That's more than merely disagreeable. It might endanger your life. This is a guide for updating your pantry. Once every 3 months, conduct a date sweep. Throw it away if it's expired. Not guilty. Arrange according to rotation. The oldest in front, the newest in the rear. On difficult-to-read cans, write the expiration date clearly with a marker. Only the items you will use within the following 6 to 9 months should be kept. There is no need for a stockpile, only a system, because your kitchen should be a place of trust, not a place of chance, when you're old and wise. 11. Fading designs on dishes. A pretty vintage teacup with a faded floral design becomes a sleek, white, contemporary dish when beauty conceals a poisonous truth. Classy, easy, secure. You might be reminded of your first house by that plate. You might feel your mother's touch on that mug. However, nostalgia does not equate to safe dinnerware, particularly if it is cracked, damaged, or coated in antiquated glazes. Lead-based designs were applied to a large number of historical plates, particularly those manufactured before to the 1980s. Gorgeous to look at, but risky to consume. I used to serve soup in my mother's old china, one grandmother said. It might contain lead till I read it. Just thinking about it made me feel ill. This is the reality. It's time to gracefully retire it if the glaze is chipped, the design is faded, or it has been in the family longer than your grandchildren. What should I do instead? Use home test kits to check for lead in historic dishes. Simple and reasonably priced. Heirloom items should be kept for decoration or exhibition rather than service. Switch to tempered glass or stoneware devoid of lead. Stylish, modern, and designed to bring tranquility. A table that promotes health rather than jeopardizes it is what you deserve. Keep your memories alive, but not through your food. 12. Old cutting boards. The unknown bacteria. Haven. A hardwood cutting board with deep grooves that has discolored from years of use is shown in close-up. After that, it transforms into a sleek bamboo board that may be proudly set on a tabletop after being gently cleaned with a towel. On that board, you have prepared, chopped, and diced innumerable meals. Over time, however, each slice becomes a narrative. Regretfully, microorganisms that lurk in every crevice also do this. Old wood or plastic boards with deep knife markings are often impossible to completely clean. Bacteria can thrive in such microscopic cracks due to the presence of moisture, raw meat fluids, and even invisible mold. The worst thing? Takes time. And without a word. Although a complete kitchen makeover is not necessary right away, this one adjustment can boost food safety right away. Here's how. Bamboo or treated wood can be used in place of boards with deep grooves. They are easier to maintain and naturally antimicrobial. To prevent cross-contamination, keep raw meats and veggies on different boards. To keep wood boards from cracking and to preserve them, lightly coat them with food-safe oil. Boards should not be put in the dishwasher. It shortens the life of even plastic ones and distorts wood. For years, you have been feeding others. The moment has come to safeguard yourself with hygienic, secure surfaces that also take care of your health. Baking sheets that are old or worn out, you may be surprised to learn what's adhering to your food. Presentation. A close-up of a bent, discolored baking sheet with burn marks. The image shifts to a spotless, shiny, non-toxic baking tray covered with parchment and piled high with roasted veggies that have turned golden. Your dependable old baking trays have been in your kitchen for decades. But take a deeper look. Those areas that are blackened? Not all of them are stains. These can flake into your food and include rust, scorched fat, and years of accumulation. Worse, rust can seep into food and old. Non-stick coatings can emit poisons when heated to high temperatures. These invisible risks are more important than ever, especially for the elderly. Clean cooking equipment is the first step toward long-term health, immunity, and digestion. Here's a safe update guide. Remove any distorted or discolored trays. They deteriorate food quality and heat unevenly. Select non-toxic, non-stick materials such as heavy-duty stainless steel or ceramic-coated steel. Try silicone mats or parchment paper. They prolong the life of your cookware, lessen direct touch, and facilitate cleanup. Mark 2024 on your new trays with a marker so you can determine when it's time for another assessment. Cooking ought to be enjoyable rather than risky. With equipment that care for you in every bake, roast, and golden brown finish, start over. 14. Outdated blenders or food processors. When preparing meals begins to work against you. Display. A close-up of a stuttering old blender with its blades leaking over the counter. Upgrade to a contemporary model that blends a colorful smoothie while spinning smoothly. You push the button. It whirs, then sputters. Perhaps there is some leakage. Perhaps it has a somewhat charred smell. Does that sound familiar? Antiquated processors and blenders do more than merely slow you down, particularly if they leak, overheat, or have blades that are too dull to handle tender fruit. They might increase your stress levels and safety hazards. Let's be truthful. How many times have you neglected to prepare that nutritious smoothie or vegetable soup because your equipment isn't working as well as it once did? One reader wrote, "I kept having trouble with my old food processor. I was shocked to discover how much more frequently I could cook after I eventually replaced it. In fact, it made the kitchen happier again." The good news is here. These days, appliances are more efficient, quieter, and easier to clean. Seek for versions with safety locks, pulse control, and detachable parts. Particularly helpful if your hand strength has decreased. And think about cutting back. Perhaps all you need is a personal blender. Healthy practices don't have to be laborious because of antiquated instruments. With the correct equipment, meal preparation is once again enjoyable rather than a job. 15. Specialty instruments left and used when well-meaning intentions turn into clutter. Presentation. A gadget-filled
Cabinet.
spiralizer, fondue pot, and pasta maker. Then use a basic whisk, tongs, and peeler to disappear into a clean drawer. That 2009 fondue pot? You used the waffle maker once? Perhaps. Everybody has them. Devices purchased with noble intentions. However, they eventually become just something else to work around rather than with. The tool itself isn't the issue. The reason is that it occupies both mental and physical space in a kitchen that ought to seem serene rather than busy. After receiving a letter from a visitor, I found that I was circling items I seldom used and that I was having trouble finding the one spatula I required each day. Here's a new strategy. At least once a week, keep tools that are useful to you. Choose versatile tools such as kitchen scissors that can shatter nuts and open jars, or an immersion blender rather than a heavy countertop model. Rarely used devices can be creatively repurposed or donated to someone who will utilize them. I've seen elegant flower holders made out of spiralizers. The reality is straightforward. It's not the quantity of tools you possess. It's the frequency with which they service your life. Saving room isn't the only reason to declutter these things. It's about taking back your kitchen's convenience and independence. Consider this. Tomorrow morning, your kitchen feels lighter when you walk in. Emotionally as well as physically. Everything has a place. There was a reason behind everything you touched. More significantly, everything feels secure. You do more than just cook in your kitchen. It's where you care for yourself, others, and yourself. In actuality, you are entitled to a location that expresses your desired emotions. Wholesome, tranquil, and in control. You're creating space for what's truly important by getting rid of the broken, out-of-date, and just-in-case clutter. You're not simply throwing away a used dish towel or pan. You are choosing vitality over worry, clarity over chaos, and energy over tiredness. And don't be concerned. You don't need to finish everything in a single day. Begin with a single drawer. Just one cabinet. One choice that prioritizes you. So tell me, what kitchen item are you going to declutter today? Leave a comment below with it. Someone else could be motivated to start by your story. Please give this movie a thumbs up if it changed your perspective or provided you with even one useful suggestion. Give it to a family member or acquaintance who also needs a new beginning. Above everything, click subscribe. Because in our community, aging does not equate to fading out. It entails beginning a new chapter with grace, knowledge, and a great deal of joy. Many thanks for viewing. Take care of your kitchen and yourself till the next time.